you know what I've done to celebrate that court case? Got my fat, lazy arse in the gym because I've been stuck in a little rut again. Only takes a few days, but that's because I've been feeling sorry for myself. So rather than go out and celebrate or go and eat a load of shit, I'm getting in here to beast myself for an hour, just to reset. So then from the morning, bang, back on healthy eating, back in a good mode, rather than being a little fat man eating loads of sugar and being lazy. So get yourself in the gym. I mean, how much I'm dreading it. I've been putting it off. I've had 2 double espressos sitting in my mate's cafe, just like, I don't want to do it. And my mate will be here in about 2 minutes, 3 o'clock. I needed to book him for a PT just because I wouldn't have the motivation. Thank you all for the support. I'm very happy with my verdict and result today, but I'm fed up of these cases. And I'm fed up of do you know, like, I made a point here with Nigel Farage. When this happened, lots of reform people were contacting Nigel Farage saying, speak up, this is outrageous what they're doing. And it was outrageous what they're doing. And rather than speak up, Nigel made up that I'd been caught with a dodgy passport. Now, he had to make it up because it was made up, yeah? Rather than be brave enough to speak out against the establishment and against counter-terrorism, abuse of power. Now, Nigel will speak out when it happens to him or it happens to one of his people within reform, which is too late, yeah? Too late, to be honest. Just like the banking situation. He just spoke up when everyone else was getting their banks hit. So it does frustrate me. Still frustrated, it's just lies. Anyway, have a good day.
She cleared the schedules 8 till 9 on Breakfast TV, the highest rated show at GB News, just for example, and gave this kind of opaque speech. She basically gave the first third of what I think is the budget speech. She prepared the ground without any of the kind of punchline, what might go up. It's like going to the dentist and having the anaesthetist put you in the gas, knock you out, and then not take the teeth out for 3 weeks. And that's where we are, I think, with the Chancellor. We're waiting now. The speculation will be rife on what she means. The key quote, I think, from that long speech was, we all have to contribute to that effort of bringing down the cost of living, NHS waiting lists and national debt. Now, she did say she could be cutting capital spending, but she won't. She wants to go further on industrial strategy planning and cutting regulation. And that's the point here. She's made a choice, it seems, to break that manifesto pledge to increase either national insurance, VAT or income tax. Most people think it's income tax, maybe up by 2%. She may try and cut national insurance by 2%, so she can get away with saying that she's not going after working people, or most working people, probably under £45,000 a year. Already the reaction has come in. Sir Mel Stride, the Shadow Chancellor, calls it an emergency speech from a Chancellor panicking about the speculation she's fuelled. But all she's done is confirm that taxes are going to be rising, and she claimed she had fixed the public finances last year. If that was true, she would be rolling the pitch for more tax rises. I don't remember a breakfast time press conference 22 days out from budget ever happening like this. It of course is a great shame that she wouldn't take a question from GB News, given we are Britain's #1 news channel for the 4th month running. But my hand was in the air. We asked for a question, but sadly it wasn't granted.
Now, Chris, one of the things she did say to one of the questioners, obviously not you, was she criticised the Conservatives' plan to cut welfare spending by £23 billion a year. And she said that if that happened, public services would grind to a halt. And yet you only have to go back 2 years for our welfare bill to be more than £23 billion less than it is now. Do you think there's now no hope at all of any kind of welfare reform under this government?
The lack of ambition on welfare is startling compared to where the other parties are. It's a choice they've made here. They didn't go ahead with the £5 billion cut to welfare.
Rupert Lowe's speech was anything but a routine parliamentary intervention. It was a fully choreographed act of political theater. Nothing about it was spontaneous. Every sentence, every repetition, every provocation was deliberately constructed for maximum impact. This wasn't a speech aimed at persuading colleagues across the benches. It was a digital age performance tailored for clips, outrage, and instant virality. Lowe understands the modern media landscape far better than many long-standing MPs. He knows that the average voter will not sit through hours of parliamentary debate, but they will watch a 30-second clip that ignites anger, fear, or frustration. His delivery reflects this reality. He doesn't bother with diplomatic language, legal nuance, or procedural respect. Instead, he adopts a tone that is blunt, confrontational, and intentionally abrasive, because confrontation travels faster than consensus. When Lowe repeats, "I don't care," he isn't just dismissing individual cases of offenders he mentions. He is symbolically rejecting an entire ethical and legal framework, the European Convention on Human Rights, and everything it represents. His message is not subtle, and it's not meant to be. He has come to reject the system, not participate in it. His role in this moment is that of a disruptor, not a lawmaker. What gives this speech its momentum is the emotional structure behind it. Lowe is not simply expressing personal frustration. He is tapping into a deep, growing sentiment among sections of the British public who feel ignored, unheard, and increasingly alienated from mainstream politics. By referencing extreme examples, rapists, murderers, traffickers, pedophiles, he short-circuits legal debate and presents the issue as a stark moral divide. He frames the ECHR not as a human rights safeguard, but as a shield protecting the worst criminals, while ordinary British citizens are cast as vulnerable and abandoned. This rhetorical style is part of a much broader movement. Across Europe and the United States, right-wing populism has been reshaping political discourse by reframing immigration not as a policy problem, but as a civilizational threat. It's a powerful narrative because it collapses complexity into emotion. Lowe's speech fits squarely within this trend. Simple, raw, and engineered to provoke, it's designed for social media ecosystems where outrage performs better than nuance, and where algorithms reward the loudest voices rather than the most accurate. The visible discomfort of MPs, the procedural interruptions, and the points of order only enhance the effect. Every correction from the speaker and every pushback from other MPs becomes part of Lowe's argument that the establishment cares more about rules, decorum, and international obligations than about the everyday fears of ordinary people. It reinforces a populist story that has been gaining traction for over a decade, that the political class is detached, privileged, and fundamentally out of touch. Whether or not his speech is legally grounded is almost irrelevant. Its power lies in its strategic placement within a wider cultural clash. And on that battlefield, Lowe's method works. It resonates with voters who feel exhausted by political correctness and bureaucratic caution. It spreads effortlessly across TikTok, X, YouTube, and Facebook. It sharpens ideological lines far more aggressively than traditional parliamentary speeches ever could. This is the new landscape of modern politics. Not expert analysis versus misinformation, but outrage versus restraint, spectacle versus procedure. And in the digital arena, the spectacle is winning. Politicians like Lowe understand that visibility is currency, and that emotional shockwaves generate far more influence than carefully reasoned arguments. His post-speech remarks drive the point home by praising places like Miami under a strong Republican governor and warning that Britain is sleepwalking into what he calls full-on, real-deal Marxism. Lowe positions himself as a defender of a threatened national identity and frames his opponents not as adversaries, but as existential dangers. Whether one agrees or disagrees, the strategy is unmistakable. Escalate the stakes, amplify the conflict, and define politics as a battle for survival. In today's media environment, that strategy is not only effective, it is dominating.
In the summer, they've got Stephen Timms, who's a respected former welfare minister. He's reviewing it now. He'll report back at the budget next year in November 2026, and any changes he says won't come into effect until 2027, a long way from where we are now. She does say she wants to tackle the welfare crisis. Why is that 1 in 8 young people are not employed and maybe on benefits, she says. But where's the evidence of this? I mean, I think her big thing, it clearly, is bringing down the cost of borrowing. What the markets want to see is a treasury that building behind me in some form of control over spending. Well, they haven't seen that yet. All we're seeing is big hints about tax increases. But all it was hints. We expected more, frankly, from this moment, this bringing all the journalists into number 9 Downing Street, the big speech. What was there? It was pitch rolling, frankly, for something difficult to happen in 22 days' time. I don't see what the point of it was, frankly.
Point, Chris, I was just going to say it is unprecedented. I don't recall it ever happening before. It was meant to, I thought it was going to be some great state-of-the-art announcement from her. She was rattled in the questions. She must have known those questions were coming. What was it supposed to achieve? Because all it's done is fuel even more lurid speculation about what happens on November the 26th.
I don't know. I mean, it's not fair to say it was an emergency speech, as the Tories say, because we saw it was on her schedule to prepare for the speech on this day, on Tuesday, last Wednesday, when her schedule was photographed as she left one of the buildings behind me. So we knew it was planned. I mean, for me, as I say, it was the first third of a budget speech without the actual denouement, what's going to go up, what's going to go down. And I think she's trying to prepare the ground for what's coming next to avoid maybe spooking the markets. They're very worried clearly about the cost of servicing that national debt. She said it was trillions of pounds now, 2.9 trillion, I think, from memory, a big number, and we have to try and deal with that. But I think she's making choices there, and I don't understand. The question to ask her was, do you regret going to that election last year with that pledge not to cut VAT, income tax or national insurance? I mean, all I was going to say, frankly, is a time that GB News viewers cancel the Christmas turkey, but sadly, she wouldn't call me.
Well, Christopher.